And we are back. Along with my crazy cousin Wiley, I am Jay Hood. Thank you so much for downloading the podcast. It's Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, and we are here. Cuzzo, it is good to be back with you. How are you on this fine Monday evening?
I'm doing well, Cuzzle. How you feeling?
I'm better now. Now that I'm back in Chicago, I feel better now. As you know my schedule because you follow what I'm doing. I was with the UIC Flames basketball team in garden spots like Springfield, Missouri, and St.
Yeah.
Louis, and some of the Terre Haute, Indiana, the fine spots,
Yes.
around our fine country. And finally, the season's over. I didn't want the season to end because I love being the voice of the UIC Flames basketball team, but we beat Southern Illinois. Next door's alma mater here, Peacock's alma mater. She's salty. I was happy about that. We got in that Carbondale ass. We beat y'all ass. It took double overtime, but we were able to get that done. Then we lost to Bradley, and unfortunately, the head coach for the Flames was fired. Luke Yaklich. He was let go yesterday.
Why do you think that happened? Why do you think they let him go?
Well, let me just tell you. First of all, I should say this publicly. I wrote an Instagram post about Luke Yaklich. You can see that on my Instagram, IGJ Hood. And by the way, as you guys come in, make sure you put your comments in, like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. But make sure that you check out our comments, and we'll be able to answer your questions on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, because we're on Twitch as well for J Hood Radio. So, first of all, let me just say this publicly about Luke Yaklich. Is one of the best people I've dealt with in sports. Now, you think about this, right? I've dealt with a lot of people since the early 90s. Cubs, Sox, Bulls, Bears, Hawks, a lot of the college teams, high school teams. So I've met a lot of people. Luke Yaklich is one of the best people, Cuzzo, that I've met. Um, he takes over a program in the pandemic and tries to turn things around. And unfortunately, his time ran out. But I just want to make sure that I give him his props, because I want you to think about a head coach. When you're a head coach after being an assistant under Shaka Smart, being an assistant under John Beeline, you're like, I finally made it. So I'm going to make sure my managers and my assistant coaches can do all the work. And I just put my feet up and just delegate. Be like, you do this, you do that, you do this. Yeah, our coach wasn't like that. I've never seen a head coach in all my years on the basketball side do the same things that a manager would do, meaning go to a convenience store, pick up like cases of water and put it on our bus. You get a head coach that when we get on our private plane, this dude is right at the plane taking luggage off and putting it out there for everybody to make sure they get their bags and make sure they get their luggage. I mean, here's a head coach that could have went from our charter plane right to the bus and just like put his feet up. No, he was helping out. I've never seen that on the D1 level as a head coach. No, I've never seen that, because usually they say, let the managers do it, let the people underneath me do it. He did the same things that assistant coaches and managers would do. And a good people person, too. He would make sure he looks you in the eye and say, hey, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you've done for me. I appreciate what you did for us tonight. See you next game, whatever. Ask about your family. So I just want to just put that out there first about Yaklich, one of the nicest guys that I've met in sports. And
That's high
I thought,
praise, though, Hood, because
yeah,
you've been in sports for 30 years, and
yeah,
you've dealt with countless, probably hundreds of personalities, maybe even thousands of personalities in your 30-year career. And to say that, you know, through all your travels, that this brother was one of the most upright brothers you've encountered, that's high
mm,
praise right there.
yeah, and he deserves those flowers. And all the best to him and his family. He'll get another job at some point, but I know that his dream is to be a head coach, being a guy from LaSalle, Peru, downstate, but ultimately a Chicago guy through and through. And so I think that he'll pick it up. He'll find some place. But I just know that it's too bad that one of the good guys in our business is no longer head coach. I really believe that the domino is starting to fall. So we saw earlier this season that DePaul fired their coach, Tony Stubblefield. Can't talk about that. Can't talk about that on the air. I can't talk to you about that. But you can call my hotline 1-900-909. But Stubblefield gets fired, and not only does Luke Yaklich get let go, but also Brian Mullins from Southern Illinois gets let go, and also Dana Ford from Missouri State gets let go as well. So 3 coaches looking for a job, and others probably will be looking for a job also in Missouri Valley because they might be looking to move up. Indiana State played Drake yesterday, so who knows? But the one story that is out there is that Porter Moser is coming back to Chicago, the former Loyola coach who has been coaching Oklahoma. You remember he left Loyola to go to Oklahoma. He did a nice job at Oklahoma, still doing a nice job. But the reports are that Porter Moser will be coming back to Chicago to coach DePaul.
Okay.
So Porter Moser, if you don't know about Porter Moser, remember Loyola, man. Remember Cuzzo? They're just another program. Moribund, kind of just a program just laying back in the cut. And he turned it around because he got him in the tournament twice. And he used that as a springboard to go to Oklahoma. Big 12 school, more money, more prestige. I keep reading these reports that Porter Moser is coming back, which I believe that other athletic directors say, oh, if Porter Moser is coming back, he's a relentless recruiter. Yeah, we need to step up our game too. We need to be able to try to match that kind of intensity, his gravitas, his way of recruiting. So that might be a reason. I'm just saying, like, if Porter comes back and he's trying to help DePaul, I tell you what, if Porter Moser can't turn around DePaul, nobody can. Okay, because they haven't been as good since the Meyer administration.
I mean, it's which Meyer? It's
Ray. It's Ray.
I remember them when the great was it Calvin Booth was running up and down the court with them. So that was a different era though. But he won't have Sister Jean with him though. He's going to need Sister Jean, to make the switch.
Sister Jean has a price. She'll change colors. She'll go on over to. Could you imagine her being the sister for the DePaul Blue Demons? For the Demons, I mean, everyone's got a price. Even Sister Jean. Right. Come on over. I'll tell you about that story a little bit later on too, on a different program, on our nightcap show, one of our lights out shows that no one was supposed to watch. But like I said, we want you to like, share, and subscribe to our chat, our conversation that we have. And so glad to be back with my cousin talking about sports because, the news in Chicago, and it's been that way for a while, is what's happening with the Bears and Justin Fields. Now, you see my cousin here. I mean, look what he's wearing.
Put a pin in that for 1 second, Cuzzo.
Yeah.
We got merchandise here. Yes. So, we have the Under the Hood water bottle.
Uh-huh.
This is great water bottle for water, juice, alcohol, you name it. It's a decent weapon as well. So, get yourself an Under the Hood water bottle before the summer starts. Get to.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And
always good to have.
We have my favorite, the Under the Hood tumbler. Yes. And this tumbler, some of them come with watts of cash. Mine came with watts of cash. Yours could too. So get yourself a couple of Under the Hood tumblers. Put your favorite beverage in there. It's still in the summer. You still need your coffee, so you still need your coffee spiced up a little bit. Put a little rum, a little vodka, a little whiskey. Take care of yourself during the summer.
And if you're my cousin Wiley or like him, those wads of cash he's not going to spend because he's tight with the dollar, very tight. So don't forget about that also. Very tight with the dollar.
And we have the Under the Hood hoodie. And get yourself Carolina Blue. They come in a variety of colors. Pick your favorite color and get yourself an Under the Hood hoodie. Get your kids one. Get your spouse one. Get your co-worker one. Just get some Under the Hood hoodies. It's still hoodie season. This is Chicago, so we have about another 3 or 4 months of hoodie weather. Get yourself an Under the Hood hoodie.
Yes, that one seems like it's very stretched out in the chest area. So I like to know who's been wearing that besides you. But please go ahead.
And we saved the best for last. Here's the infamous Under the Hood T-shirt. Get yourself a few Under the Hood T-shirts. This is T-shirt season coming up in the next few months. We want to see you out. Post a picture of yourself inside your Under the Hood t-shirt. Share it online. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Instagram with Hoodie. Get yourself one of these and post a picture of it.
Yes. We would love to see you in your Under the Hood t-shirt. Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. That is for sure. Represent the podcast. That's exactly right. With J Hood and cousin Wiley. And I again, question still stands. I don't know who's been wearing that hoodie. That doesn't look like you've been wearing it. It looks like I also see some blonde hair on the hood side of that. I don't know why that's there, but I guess we can talk about that another time. Don't know why. Oh my God, it's so warm. Oh God, who's Hood, right? So there's always that when it comes to cousin Wiley. You just never know. So again, the merchandise link is on the bottom. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitch, the Under the Hood podcast, and go to my link tree while we have our conversation. And if you're listening on the podcast, it's linktree.com, and go to JHood Radio, linktree.com, JHood Radio. It'll pop right up. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and the merchandise as well. Now, my friend, the Chicago Bears. And boy, oh boy, I know if you listen to Captain J Hood weekday morning, 7 to 10 on ESPN 1000 on the ESPN Chicago app, ad nauseum, we've been talking about the Chicago Bears. And but I think it starts first with Justin Fields before we go into free agency, because here we are as we record this live at 6:17 on Monday, March 11th. There is no suitor for Justin Fields. And this is the same Justin Fields in which Adam Schefter and Mel Kiper Jr. told us, yeah, I could see Justin getting a second-round pick, or you can trade him for a first-round pick. Yeah, not the case. Not the case. But I want to get your thoughts, because I think I have a reason why that this is happening right now, where Justin is not been traded just as of yet.
So, you know, I mean, I'll start this by saying, I haven't been a Fields fan. So I say this as someone who hasn't been a Fields fan. There have been players that have been signed and who are going to be a starting quarterback for their NFL team next year that's not better than Justin Fields. Or if they're better, they're marginally better at this moment and not worth the contract they just signed. So when I see that, it makes me question some of the decision makers, because I'll be honest, Hood, Baker Mayfield had a solid season last year. To me, he's a replacement level starting quarterback. If you have him, it's fine to have, but he's not a guy you invest heavily in. And here's the guy who just got a $100 million deal for 3 years. Now, you can't tell me that Fields for $28 million for the next 2 years wouldn't have been a better option than paying Baker Mayfield $100 million. He's not 3 times the quarterback, or actually nearly 4 times the quarterback that Justin Fields is. He's not. You can't convince me of that. And Gardner Minshew, I mean, he is Nick Foles without a Super Bowl ring. Great guy to have, works his ass off, good in the locker room. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a guy who can fill in and play well in a limited role. But if you make him be the man, as we saw what happened when Jacksonville made Nick Foles be the man, it's not going to work out well. So I'm looking around the league and I'm seeing things like this. And I'm like, why would you invest those type of resources in those players when you can have Fields probably for like a 3rd round, 4th round pick at this point, and get more bang for your buck. So I don't understand why teams aren't willing to take that gamble yet on Fields, because you can see when at his best, he can be elite. Now, obviously, there's no consistency with it. It is a lot sporadic, especially when it comes to his passing. But you can see the physical traits are there. you can see whatever you want to see in him. You can see a guy who can be elite. You can say with the right coaching, this kid can be special, or at worst serviceable. He's a starting quarterback. He may not be an elite starting quarterback right now, but he's a starting quarterback. And to me, when it comes to value-wise, he's a better option to me than a Baker Mayfield. It's a better option to me than the Gardner Minshew, and probably some other people who are going to start the season. So I really don't know what's going on and why no one is willing to take a risk. I mean, a relatively small risk when it comes to investing in Fields for a year or two at worst. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, because here's how I look at it. And for those of us watching for the first time, I will tell you that Justin Fields, if he's broken, he can be fixed. I don't think he's completely broken. I just think that the issue with Justin Fields is that he's got to be more accurate going down the field. And there's no perfect offensive line in the National Football League, so it's not about the offensive line. It's part of the reason, but not the reason why Justin Fields underachieved. It's not about having all-world weapons on both sides, as wide receiver or the perfect running game or the perfect tight end. It's not about that, because that does not exist. Perfection in the National Football League. It's the weapons that you have, and you have to be able to work in concert with the weapons that you have. There's been several seasons where Justin Fields had less than to work with, and as everyone was growing at the same time. But this season told a lot about Justin Fields, because this was the season for him to prove that he belongs as a quarterback for this football team. Being injured hurt him. Also, not being able to connect to other aspects of the offense also hurt him. DJ Moore got his share, even though it was not great early. But DJ Moore got his share. Cole Kmet got his share. But what about the rest of it? The running game was okay. But what I'm saying is that when you underachieve as an offense, that means everybody, including Justin Fields. We can't put him over here and just say, Luke Getsy sucks and Eberflus sucks and the offensive line sucks and there's nothing wrong with Justin Fields. We put him over here, but everything else sucks. No, it's all part of it. And this was a point in time where Ryan Poles said, all right, I'm giving you a world-class wide receiver. I didn't get a quarterback this time. We went with you last year. This is last season. You're going to be the guy. And it didn't work out. Underachievement. So I think that teams are looking at his salary situation, Cuzzo. What is that? What's that noise?
It's a pencil sharpener.
Okay, so all right. Is it sharp? For God's sake?
I think it is. It has the sharpest point you've probably ever seen in your entire life.
Okay, all right. So, okay, well, I'm hoping that Cuzzo in there that is got his pencil so sharpened that he'll be able to write down this $25,664,000 that's owed to Justin Fields for the fifth-year option, because that's what it is. That's what it is. $25 million. That's a team option if the Bears were to keep him. What I'm telling you, Cuzzo, is that I think some teams look at Justin Fields and says, okay, we can have him on the team, but it's going to have to be a one-year deal, because they don't want to have that fifth-year option to deal with, and the Bears are not going to
pick it up then.
Money. Yeah.
So here's how I view that, Hood. I look at it like this. I look at it like it's more of a situation of like what happened with I won't say his first name, but with the Green Bay Packers quarterback Love.
Yes.
So when he came in this year or last season, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. They just gave him an extension that was a little less than his fifth-year option would have been. You can do the same thing with Justin Fields, or you can not pick up his option at all. You can let him play out his contract. If he plays well, then you reward him. If he doesn't play well, then you owe him nothing at all. But to let a talent like that sit, he's not Mac Jones. He's not a Bailey Zappi or any of these other. He's not a Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is an asshole. He's nothing like that when it comes to being in the locker room, or even when it comes to talent wise. So he's not Trey Lance. So to treat him as such is insane. To me, it's insane. And I say that as someone who has not been a fan of Justin Fields. But you can, when I look at the market and I say, Are there jobs available that he shouldn't have? Yes, there are jobs that may have been available he shouldn't have. I would have signed Kirk Cousins over Justin Fields. But that's probably where it begins and ends when it came to the musical chairs this offseason. I would have definitely signed Kirk Cousins over Justin Fields because of the body of work. Now Kirk Cousins is going to wet the bed. I call him Dak Cousins because just like Dak Prescott, they both wet the bed whenever it matters most. But if you look at their production during the regular season, it's always solid to great. So for at least the regular season, having Kirk Cousins on your team almost ensures you're going to make the playoffs. So outside of that acquisition, there's no one else who was signed or re-signed during the offseason I can look at and say, he's clearly worth that money or a better option than Justin Fields. I can't say that as someone who is not a fan and has not been a fan of Justin Fields.
All I'm telling you, Cuzzo, is I find this very interesting that there's no suitor for Justin Fields as we sit here today. So you mentioned Mac Jones. So Mac Jones is broken.
Yes,
as a quarterback, because
completely.
And you can blame Belichick, you blame Mac Jones himself, an Alabama quarterback underachieving, no shit, and water's wet, of course. More times than not, that is the case with an Alabama quarterback. It did not work. What I'm saying to you is that he's traded for a 6th round pick, and if that's how far down the line that Ryan Poles has to go, then you go there. I was just on with Freddie and Harry, with Freddie Coleman and Harry Douglas on ESPN Radio a half hour before we got on here. And Freddie Coleman asked me, he said, do you think that Ryan Poles is trying to ask for too much for Justin Fields? Is that the hang-up? And obviously, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know that Ryan Poles says he wants to do right by Justin Fields and try to put him in the right spot. Well, I'm sure he picked up the phone and called Pittsburgh, and they're like, nah, we'll go with Russell Wilson for a year. I'm sure they picked up the phone and said, let's go to the Raiders. I know Luke Getsy, you may not want to coach him again, but he could battle with Aiden O'Connell for that starting job with the Raiders. Nah, we're good with that. We'll go with Gardner Minshew. So these doors are closing. We'll see Atlanta. Now we're going to have a guy coming off a torn Achilles tendon who's going to be 36 in August and pay him $100 million guaranteed to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs over Justin Fields. So the doors everywhere you look are closing on Justin Fields, or at least on Ryan Poles. I want to make sure it's very clear also tonight. And by the way, leave your comments on the stream, whether it's on Facebook or on Twitch or on YouTube. Leave your comments. We'd love for you to jump in on our conversation as well here on Under the Hood. My point is that whether it's a 5th or 6th round pick, if they can't get Justin Fields and they can't trade him for something, they will outright release him.
Yes.
They're going to release, and I know that's embarrassing for the Bears because all this talk of the Bears can get something on day 1 or day 2 in the draft. Cuzzo, if no one wants Justin Fields, what does that say for the Bears? What does that say for Justin Fields? That's crazy to me.
It is. I still believe that at the very minimum, there's going to be an offer for a 4th round pick. Trey Lance was acquired for a 4th round pick last year. And Trey Lance is not an NFL quarterback. Trey Lance hasn't played football in like 6 years. So the idea that someone who hasn't played football in 6 years can be more valuable than Justin Fields is insane. So I think at the very least, you got a 4th round pick from someone coming. Now, the thing is that to a lot of fans, it's going to seem like, oh, well, you took peanuts for Fields. The market is the market. We can all hope that, we got back multiple 1st round picks for Fields or 2nd round pick. The market is the market. And right now you look at a player, it's sunk cost. So to try to hold on to him, to pray for some injury or whatever else, that may come up during the middle of the season to hopefully get more than, a 4th or 5th or whatever it may be, it's insane because to me, you're poisoning your locker room because Justin Fields is still the man inside that locker room. You're bringing in a rookie into your first pick into a toxic environment and asking him, hey, I need you to win over these people who give 0 fucks about you and hope you fail because they want their guy to win this job. I mean, that's insane. So if it comes down to your point, if it comes down to it, yeah, you release him. Release him, let him go, find employment. But I believe at the very least you can find someone who will give you a fourth round pick for his services because he is still a dynamic football player with flaws, but he has enough talent where someone can believe they can fix at least some of his flaws.
Yeah. And by the way, if it's a fifth round pick, you can replace the fifth round pick that you gave up to get Ryan Bates.
Right.
So, and you got a set. You either got a center or you got a versatile offensive lineman in which you need
Yeah.
depth on that offensive line. You need starters, but also you need depth on that offensive line. Yeah, if you can't get him for a fifth rounder, then like, what is the perception of Justin Fields that you can't find a suitor for him? That's the thing that's what I can't get past because of all these moves that's been made over the last 48 hours, rumored and true moves. I'm like, wait a minute. Let me accentuate the positives. The guy can run with the football. The guy does have a strong arm. The guy is good in your locker room. The guy is not going to cause an upheaval. You know, he's got all these attributes that are good for a football team. But I'm looking at this and like, this is for Mac Jones to get a job, Gardner Minshew, some of these other guys that's looking for getting a job or being traded, and Justin Fields still sitting out there. Now, by the time this podcast is over, maybe he will be someplace. Maybe they will swing a deal. But a couple of things that we have to that are mythbusters that we're going to do. First of all, he's not going to compete with Caleb Williams for the job.
No.
That's not happening. So let's get that out there. Like he's not going to be him and Caleb Williams on the same roster. That's one. Number two, Justin Fields is not staying around to be some kind of ultra back, some kind of Taysom Hill type. That's bullshit. That guy's a quarterback. We got to get away from these tropes that, well, he's black and fast. Just make him a wide receiver. Let's make him a punt returner. Enough of that. Stop with that, man. Like we have to get past those tropes in 2024. This league, look at your quarterbacks, Wiley. Take a good look at your quarterbacks. What are they looking like in 2024? Take a look. Take a good close look at the quarterback play. And they're not all running for their lives and not all like Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham from days gone by. No, they're cerebral and they stay in the pocket and when they have to run, they run. They're just like any other quarterback. How about that? Athletic and can do the same with other quarterbacks in the National Football League. Take a look at how the quarterback position is shifting at this point in 2024. So Justin Fields fits that mold. But the point is, though, people look at him and think, not even as a backup is crazy to me.
I think there has clearly been a disconnect between the personnel guys and fans in the media. Because, again, I say someone who hasn't been a Fields supporter, I would rather have Fields than Russell Wilson. I would rather have Fields than Gardner Minshew. I would rather have Fields than Baker Mayfield. And I'm probably missing a quarterback. But I'm looking at those options. I'm like, give me Fields instead of those guys. Like, he's a better option to me than those guys. And the league looks and they say, no, he's not. Now, to me, I thought I was being reasonable in my assumption when it came to his value. Like, I wasn't saying, give me a first-round pick, give me multiple first-round picks. But I thought, you can get a late second or third for his services with no problem at all. And not only is that probably highly unlikely, I don't really see where you start right now. The Giants, the Vikings, do you trade them in the division?
I think there's a possibility now that Cousins is in Atlanta. I think there's a possibility.
Is it Denver? But like there has to be a spot where he can go, and his services will be needed at least for this season. But yeah, it's been crazy because it's been really crazy to see what his market has become. And like I said, there's clearly has been a disconnect between the personnel guys and us fans, and then the media people who were predicting first round picks and plus for him, and that clearly isn't going to be the case.
Leave your comments on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. We'll be glad to read your comments as we move forward here, talking about the Bears and Justin Fields. Yeah, so let's unpack that for a second. So with Cousins going to Atlanta, Would you rather have Justin Fields or Nick Mullins
Justin Fields.
or Joshua Dobbs?
Justin Fields.
Okay, so I mean, there's a spot there.
Now, I
Right
mean,
there.
like if you had like a Make-A-Wish season, then like Joshua Dobbs would be perfect for that. You know,
What does that mean, man? What are you trying to say?
what did I say?
What do you mean? What do you mean to make a wish? What does that mean?
Hey, you know, he looks like a cancer patient, Cuzzo.
Oh my God, that's just so ridiculous.
He has
an issue. He has an issue with. Never mind.
You call him Jada Pinkett.
Be careful. Keep your wife's name out your fucking mouth. Be careful now. You don't want Will Smith to come on the podcast. Just be careful. What about Philadelphia as a backup?
I mean, that's a possibility, but I think if you're doing right by him, you want to put him in a situation where he can start. You're not trying to give him the Trubisky treatment. Like he's not.
Well, I mean, but there's no jobs open, Wiley.
Yeah. Well, no. I get your point, but I'm saying if they have the best offer, you take that offer. So if they're offering you a third for him to be a backup, you take that fucking third or fourth or whatever else it may be for him to be a backup. But I imagine there's some other team who would come knocking first. But I mean, you're sending them to the highest bidder. So doing right by him is we're going to get you a job. It won't be with us. We're going to get you a job somewhere in the league. You know, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get the best value for our team, but we're going to get you a job next season.
A backup to Jalen Hurts, I think, is available because Marcus Mariota is a free agent. So there's an opening there in Philly. So
Yeah.
now you got two guys that are kind of like the same, except Jalen Hurts is a lot better. But you have Jalen Hurts and you got a doppelganger Jalen Hurts, pretty much with Justin Fields. So I mean, there are jobs, but again, it's just about the negotiations. And we're keeping our eyes on the phone just in case something breaks while we're on the show, because I haven't seen anything just as of yet. So there's that. So let's go to your comments here, and again, leave your comments. We want to hear your thoughts. John says that if the Vikings offer a good package for Justin, would you trade him to division rival? Yeah, I would. Yes, I would. And if he beats your ass, he beats your ass. But it's up to the Bears to be able to do something about it. You know, there's always that feeling from some GMs like, I don't want to see this guy, you know, twice a year. I want to trade him to the AFC, whatever. Not like it's the best situation for the Bears. If the Vikings are the best situation for the Bears, then definitely go ahead and do that. That's what I would say. So that's how I look at it.
No, I agree, because if you release him, he can still sign with the Vikings for nothing. So if they're going to offer you something and give you the best deal, you take that deal, because, you know, if you release him, you know, he still runs the same as he can go to a team of his choosing that can beat your ass, you know, for the next couple of years or more. So it is what it is.
Cuzzo, go ahead.
No, I mean, it is what it is. Like, to me, you're moving, you know, on to Caleb Williams. So you have to do what's best for Caleb Williams at this point, you know, and I think that's what it's about. It's not about what Justin Fields may do to you. It's about what Caleb Williams can do for you.
Yeah, speaking of Caleb Williams, I'd like to talk to you about him just for a moment, because to my surprise, Smokey Robinson, I'm very surprised when I log on here with you and a jersey I've not seen you in before.
Yes.
What? Really? A Caleb Williams jersey already? Really?
You know, here's the thing, because I had to, like, I looked online, I saw the prices of, like, the Bears jersey, and I thought about, like, okay, I should just go ahead and grab this Caleb Williams Bears jersey, you know, be one of the first ones to get it. And I thought to myself, I said, if you buy that jersey and they trade them, you'll want to kill everybody in the front office. And then more than that, if you buy that jersey and he picks a different number, you'll want to kill yourself for being impatient. So I decided to, you know, hedge my bet. You know, I got the USC jersey, and, you know, I had to represent the culture, so I didn't even take the tag off.
That's what
You
I
know,
thought.
I didn't even take the tag off. So I left the tag on just in case it goes bad, and they do something dumb like trade the pick to Washington or somewhere else. I can still resell the jersey or return it because it depends on the time frame they trade them or do something dumb, man. I can probably possibly return it. So, either return it or sell it. It has a tag on, so it's new. It's new. So you know how we do, Cuzzo. You know how we do.
Yes, I know that you are pathetic. That's what I know. That's
Yes.
how we do it. Yeah, you are
Yes.
you are pathetic. He still has the tag on. Oh, I'm not. I'm just going to just wear this dress just tonight, and I'm going to take it
Of
back
course.
tomorrow, and I'll
Of
just have the
course.
tag still on. That's exactly what you just did.
Yeah. And but I mean, at least that's different though, because she returns to the store. They say, "Excuse me, miss, what are these? Are these cum stains on the back of your dress, miss?"
I thought it.
And she
I thought it
says,
came.
"Oh,
I thought it came pre-stained. I
it was
didn't
already
know.
on there." Yeah,
Yeah.
it was already on there. So
Jesus
at least
Christ.
I'm not doing that. At
Oh
least I'm
my
not
God.
returning something like that. Yeah.
Yes. At least we know you're not having sex in your Caleb Williams jersey.
Well, I'm not going to stain it.
Well, I'd hope not. I'd hope not. My God, watch the bottom of that jersey. Make sure it stays
Right,
clean.
right.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta,
know.
you gotta pull it over your neck.
Oh, there's a guy here that's got some experience apparently in that. So, nonetheless, the free agency, and leave your comments for our podcast, Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Twitch. DeAndre Swift is now a Chicago Bear, a 3-year deal, $24.5 million, including a $15.3 million guaranteed signing bonus. A millionaire. I mean, okay. So it's funny because we were just talking about Saquon Barkley a lot, right? And saying Saquon Barkley, he's been injured before, happened at the hands of the Chicago Bears. As a matter of fact, at Soldier Field. A little out tread on that tire, I'm not so sure. DeAndre Swift gets a 3-year, $24.5 million deal. Now, my thought was that you need to shore up your offensive line. You got to take care of your defensive line because you still need more of a pass rush. And I thought that they went headlong during this free agency tampering period, Cuzzo, and they got DeAndre Swift. Now, I'd have no problem with them maturing the running back room. I like Roshan Johnson, and I like Khalil Herbert, so I get
I
that.
do as well.
But boy, that's a lot. I know the Bears have money to spend, but damn, DeAndre Swift, what do you think?
So I like the acquisition. Here's why I like it. Like, I've been a Herbert fan since he's been with the Bears. Like, I think he's a really underrated runner. If you look at his carries, his yards per carry since he's been in the league, it's been elite. But he's just a runner. Like, he hasn't developed beyond just being a guy you can hand the ball to and he can get you 5 or 6 yards to carry. He hasn't progressed beyond that. He still can't pass block. He's still not reliable catching the ball out of the backfield. So, and he doesn't have elite speed. While he's a really good runner, he doesn't have elite speed. And I think at some point you have to look at your team and say, okay, we need something a little more juice in it. So bringing in a guy like Swift, while he may not be as productive of a runner as Herbert can be, he's electric with the ball in his hands. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can hit home runs when he breaks a tackle. And he's a somewhat willing blocker, at least more willing to block than Herbert has been in his career. So I think bringing someone like that in upgrades your offense, and then you can see what happens with Johnson as he grows and matures as a player. But I like it. I heard they were in on Barkley, and Barkley ended up choosing, what he thought was a better option in Dallas, was his right. But I like
the
it.
Eagles, right?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I said Dallas. Yeah, you're right. The Eagles. So I think that was, it was a nice alternative, and it wasn't a lot of money. So it was practically the money you were trying to pay David Montgomery last offseason. So not that big of a deal. So I'm comfortable with it. And at least you got at least two quality runners in the backfield, and Roshan Johnson was definitely a willing blocker. So you give him more time to develop, and hopefully in a year or two he's ready to take the reins from Swift.
As the running back position gets devalued more and more because the pretty much, and I try to keep things simple, because as you well know, it's the vertical passing game, right? That's
Yeah.
where we are right now. The running game does matter, especially if your running back can do multiple things, a multifaceted running back, catch the ball in the flat, give you 5 yards there, run after the catch. Some of those college plays I watch on Saturday. But I'm thinking this is the going rate. Like you mentioned Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard to the Titans, 3-year, $24 million. That seems like that's the going rate for running backs at this point in time. You mentioned David Montgomery, 3-year, $18 million contract he signed as a free agent last March with the Lions. So, I mean, all I can tell you is this, and if you like to see our fancy graphics here, we have a lot of graphics here on under the hood. Here's my fancy graphics on DeAndre Swift last year. 2,700 yards, 4.6 rushing yards in average, as you can see right there. 23 rushing touchdowns, 8 receiving touchdowns, 1,400 receiving yards for the Georgia Bulldog as he comes to Chicago. You know I'm down for that. I just wonder about the tread. I know he ran a lot. DeAndre Swift with Georgia, played for the Eagles, played for the Lions. So, I just hope he can stay healthy.
So I think as an NFL player, he doesn't have there still should be some meat on those tires, because he hasn't been asked to carry the load. I mean, he probably was asked last year to, touch the ball more than he has in the rest of his career. But I think you're still going to have, I'm assuming Herbert's going to be there. I'm assuming Roshan Johnson's going to be there. So you're still going to have a couple guys somewhat sharing the load with him. So he should be fresh. And by being fresh, he should be more explosive, because he's not asked to, carry the ball 25 times a game or touch the ball 25 times a game. And I think last year we saw, and I knew it before last year, so I didn't need to see last year to know what's going to happen with Pollard. Pollard was a guy who looked great because Ezekiel Elliott was there, carrying the load. So he was a change of pace back when Ezekiel Elliott, wore the defense down. He'd come in and gash them for 10, 15 yards or something, and it looked better than it was. But he's not a guy, he still isn't a guy who can carry the load for your team. And I think Swift is more of that type of back. He's not going to be asked to be that type of back, but he's more the type of back who could carry the load. His problem is, while he can carry the load, he's not going to try to run anybody over. He could, but he's definitely not Walter Payton. He's going to run out of bounds. He's not going to lower his shoulder and get the extra yard. He's going to save his body. And that part, to me, is something that probably should change since he got paid, but we'll see what happens.
But I like the idea of thunder and lightning in my backfield. It makes me wonder what's up with Khalil Herbert now, because to me, Roshan Johnson is still going to be a viable running back. It makes me think that Herbert eventually is going to be expendable.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think they're going to either try to trade him, or he's going to be cut and allowed to go find a home for himself. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
Kevin Byard is a safety, signed a 2-year, $15 million deal. And so happy with that move. And it's one of the things that you and I don't talk a lot about, because there's no complaints about the secondary, because it's one of the strongest parts of the team. So think about this. You have you've got Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Byard at free safety, Jaquan Brisker, and Jalen Johnson, who's got taken care of financially. I can move forward with that without Eddie Jackson. I'm good. You're young. You also got some veteran help there too. I'm good with the secondary.
I completely agree. I am fine with that. And Byard seems to be a guy who is someone who's willing to tackle. And for whatever reason, Eddie Jackson was, decided to punt on that the last few years of his career. And he's a guy who also finds the ball. He's a ball hawk. And I think with an Eberflus defense, you need somebody back there who is willing to go up and intercept the ball like a Stevenson. So having a Hawkeye secondary is going to be a plus, and it's nice to have Jalen Johnson back. Hopefully, he can continue to progress on what he was previously, and I'm glad that he's working to get over his sex addiction, because sex addictions can be problematic. As a young man, wanting to have sex all the time is just it's strange. I can't believe someone that's young would want to do something like that, but there he is. It's a struggle, but don't laugh at it. Don't laugh at his pain. But he's struggling right now. He's struggling.
I'm not frozen. I'm just amazed at what you just said. That's what I'm just amazed at. This coming from you, by the way. And so, nonetheless, let me just say this. It's good to be able to be from a program, and I know that Bayard is north of 30. He's going to be 31 in August. But I like the idea that you come from places where there's high expectations.
Yes.
So Swift and Bayard both come from Philly. Like, we know Philly is going to shed some payroll. I think they're going to take a step back this upcoming season, which because of their financial issues, their cap issues. But I like that you came from a program like Philadelphia, and I say program meaning team, that, hey, you know what? We had expectations, high expectations here. Let's see what we can do for the Bears. It only helps the Bears get better, especially with a lot of their guys in their young roster.
I agree. Completely agree. And at worst, Bayard is a bridge to, a future replacement. It could be Terrell Smith or someone else on the roster right now who's going to replace him in the future.
John says, so which one of our running backs will get the least touches? We have 3 quality players now. That is going to, I think eventually is going to be Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be the odd person out. I think they wanted to trade him or release him so he can find so Ryan Poles can do right by him as well.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the case. Curtis Jackson, thanks so much for watching. Again, leave your comments. Leave your comments. It's available now on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Twitch. Speaking of 15, how much of the programming have you been seeing of his shows on Stars? Have you been watching it all?
Yes. So, I have to. You say I'm cheap, which sometimes is actually really accurate. Other times maybe not as much. But when it comes to Stars, I am definitely cheap. So I have it, but every time they try to raise the price, I cancel it and they give it to me for $199 a month. So for like 6 months. So I have it right now. The same promo, $199 a month for 6 months. But I've been a huge fan of the Power Series, BMF, everything he's put out. I've watched. So I've watched it all.
So you have seen BMF. BMF, by the way, if you've not seen BMF, that is a weekly show that talks about the drug culture in Detroit in the 1980s.
Yeah, and it makes me, I feel good for Carmelo Anthony for getting out of that jam too, because while I love his ex-wife, she is always naked. And I know she's not making a lot of money for that.
Lala Vasquez. You're talking about Lala Vasquez. Yes.
Lala is always naked on television. I mean, I'm all for it. I love it all. I'm all with it. But the fact that she's not making a lot of money to do that, and the fact that she had a husband who was, a multi-millionaire, and you could probably get like $5,000-$10,000 an episode for, to take your clothes off. Yeah, that's not enough when you got a multi-millionaire husband. But whatever, it works for me. So I'm happy that she's liberated enough to be able to, she's comfortable enough to be able to go and show her talent on television, because it's captivating television. Every time I turn it on and she's on the episode, and I already saw that when it came on, they said there's going to be nudity. I'm like, yep, I know who it is. All right. All right.
Well, I like the idea that on BMF we can always see the person that's going to be playing Derek Rose in the Derek Rose story.
Yes.
It's always good to see Derek on the show
Yes.
on BMF.
Yes. He's going to definitely be there for his son's graduation as well.
Yeah.
So shout out to him.
So that guy, every time I see him, I'm like, when Derek Rose has his story, that's the actor. That is for sure. That's going to be doing Derek Rose. Demetrius Flannery is what his name is on the show. I can't wait for that. That's going to be great. And it's a good show. I like that.
It is.
I have my choices, by the way, when it comes to this. I mean, Power is 1, BMF is 2. The one that's based out of Chicago, it's not hitting.
Not a fan.
It's just not. It's not very good. It's not
I like
very
Tommy
good.
though. I like the character. I like the Tommy as a character, so I watched because of that. But right now it probably is the worst
It's the worst
of
of
them
them.
all. Yeah.
It's the worst of them. And by the way, and here's why. Like I talked to. We should probably have the real names. We call him Tommy. Hold on a second, because I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and it was a great interview. He's from here, from
Yeah.
the south Joseph Sikora. He's from
Yeah.
the southwest side, actually. And then when he's not doing his New York accent or whatever, when he's not doing that, I mean, he sounds like some dude just from the southwest side, like around Midway. That's what he sounds like. so like but Tommy Egan is his character there on that show that he's on. Yeah, so but a good dude, by the way, really good dude.
He seems like it. He
Yeah,
seems like it.
down to earth, good dude. It's just like I think that out of all of 50 Cent's shows, it's unrealistic. So you got a guy from Ireland that's a drug dealer. It's like, yeah, that might be the case, but I haven't seen that. I've lived here all my life. Yeah, someone guy with an Irish brogue that's running the
Yeah.
city and then running the drug culture. A
Yeah.
little far fetched. Yeah. Like were the dailies running the drug culture in Chicago? And even then, like they weren't from right off the boat. That's what that guy
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes.
Not the best show. And you get your share of nudity there too, by the way. On that
Oh yeah,
show.
he was the first person to open Lala up. So,
Why do you say it like that? And by the way, that whole justification of you supporting her, so she could just be able to open, like you like it because she looks great. That's exactly why.
Hood, Cuzzo, you should know I'm all about liberating women. So if she wants to, share with the world her talent, I am all for it. Let her share it, and I'll receive it. I appreciate it.
I bet you will receive it. Yes, whether it's on the
Yes.
Shy or whether it's on
Yes.
Power. I mean, and by the way, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly. I mean, 50 Cent knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh, of
Just
course he
like
does.
he's
Of
right
course he
there in
does.
the director's chair, just like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
You
So,
probably had like the Bears organization would love that show because like it would probably still be employed.
yes,
They wouldn't have to use yes. They wouldn't lose their jobs because of things they're doing at work. Jalen Johnson wouldn't need therapy, for his struggles. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Just for the audience, so they know exactly who we're talking about. Let's see. What else do we have here? Curtis Jackson says the fact that the NFL showed how they really feel on Justin Fields is interesting, shocking to humbling.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's a little mystery to me though, Curtis. That's the whole thing. That's the thing that's a mystery because Cuzzo just laid it out. Like, how is it that Gardner Minshew's got a deal already and that Mac Jones got traded for a 6th-round pick, but yet the Bears haven't been able to find a suitor yet? That's what we've been talking about here. It's very strange. It's very strange.
I agree.
And if you are, and it doesn't matter if you're part of the cult or not, it's cult free here. Dude, you fan how you want to fan on Under the Hood. I've got no problem with that, Curtis. Got no problem with that at all.
We're we're moving to the Caleb era. So that is I imagine our prayers have been answered. Our quarterback prayers have been answered. We're going to have a guy who's going to be, if healthy, God willing, is going to be a top 5 quarterback in NFL for a long period of time, and we should sniff a Super Bowl, hopefully more than one of those. But I'm excited to what the future holds with that guy at quarterback, because when you have an elite quarterback every season, you have a chance. Every year you have a chance with a guy
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So I'm excited. So no more pop-up playoff runs. We can have some level of consistency with a guy like that behind center. So uh, kudos to Ryan Poles for fleecing the Panthers. Now I say kudos right now because if I've been a Ryan Poles fan since he arrived, but if Ryan Poles trades trades that pick,
Trades what?
trades that pick,
Uh,
all bets are off. All bets are off. I'm gonna have to jump ship. There is no reason to trade that pick for anything unless someone offers you Patrick Mahomes. Then you got to do what you got to do. But outside of that, there's no reason to trade that pick. You hold that pick, and I've heard someone else say, you run that pick to the podium right now and say, our pick is in right now, Commissioner. Sir, the draft is in for another 6 weeks. We don't give a fuck. Pick is in.
Yes, I would do it right now. Just like bring the card right now. Like, yes, it's gonna be Caleb Williams. So I totally understand it. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. You're absolutely welcome. Curtis checking in. Okay, so our final story here on the Under the Hood podcast is this. It's a story, Cuzzo, about a man who's been in the news a lot lately since the last time we were together. And that is this man, Cat Williams. Yes, Cat Williams. Okay. It's funny that this all has been occurring this year in 2024. You and I were talking in earlier episodes about comedians, controversial comedians that we like, comedians that's trying to get canceled. It's funny that this is happening because it seems like every other week we are having we're having black comedian beef. That's what's happening right here. And it's kind of like this is coming out of nowhere. It starts with Cat Williams, who's on Club Shay Shay on Shannon Sharp's podcast. And by the way, if my name was Shannon, I would not call myself Shay Shay.
Uncle Shannon is cool. Is cool, but Shay Shay, I don't know about that. I mean, it's a progressive name. It's a very progressive name for your show, but I wouldn't lean on that. When you call me Uncle Shan and I look like an Olympic bodybuilder, no, I'm not going with Shay Shay at all. Not at all.
No. Progressive is insurance. That is weird. The Shay Shay is weird. That's what that is, sir. Anyway, I just know you and I grew up on the southeast side, and if someone was called Shay Shay, it was for a different reason.
Yes,
that's all I'm telling you. Anyway, but I love his podcast, and I love that what he's doing, trying to build his brand, and he's been fantastic at it. But we saw Cat Williams with a long sit-down interview. We saw Monique with a long sit-down interview. I believe Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer. So Shannon is doing a good job being able to kind of unpack a lot of this. But Cat Williams has told what he believes some truths about comedians, and it's a lot. It is a lot. He's been in the news a lot in 2024 as if he's going to be making a ton of money just based on everything he said. It looks like he's going to have more claim this year than he's had in years past, just based on him cracking on comedians.
I agree. And the unfortunate part that I've seen is because he's not as connected as others are. The industry tried to destroy him. Not for the things that he said about them. They nitpicked on things that maybe he exaggerated a little bit when he said, I read 3,000 books a year or whatever else like that. They used those things as a way to say, well, because he exaggerated here, he has to be lying there. But fortunately for him, he had guys come out with receipts like, hold on, nope. Cat's right. I was around when it happened. Nope. when Cat said he did this, yes, Cat did that. So even to the point of Cat saying, "Oh, I run a 4.240 or whatever else," and they're like, "Oh, this guy, this midget drunk or drug
Oh,
addicted midget isn't running a 4 anything.
wow.
He's a liar. He's not. He probably can't even run at all." And then he decided to prove them wrong.
Yes.
He ran a 40. What is he, 50, 52, 50, somewhere? He's in his mid 50s.
He's 52.
52 years old, went out there and ran a sub 540 and with a false start. So if he started better than, if he didn't start the way he did, that sub 540 would have probably been closer to a 4.5. A man that's 52 years old running a 4.5 is impressive, period.
And the video, by the way, is available right now on Instagram if you haven't seen it. It is amazing to me at his age that he could do. I can't do that. Clearly, there's no way I could do that. But people thought, go ahead.
His split would have him in the NFL right now. That 10, 15-yard split when he started, that's NFL quality right there. That's top-notch speed.
I was impressed. And for those that not see this, I mean, this is Cat Williams. I mean, he actually is getting it done. He's getting after it. I mean, he's 52 and getting that done. You saw this, Cuzzo. I mean,
I did.
So he said on Club Shay Shay, he said that I can run a 4.540, and in this situation, because he got off to such a slow start, a little bit of a choppy start, he's ran it officially was a 4.97 in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Pro Day event, Sports Academy in Texas. I mean, so after reading that, I thought, well, maybe he does read 1,000 books a year. Right. Like, I believe that now. I mean, because he showed it. I mean, a guy that you think is just filled with like liquor and cigars, this guy here was getting it done. I'm impressed.
I was as well. I was really impressed.
This is not AI, folks. I mean, he actually is running and getting it done. Look at that. It was Cat Williams. I can run a fucking 4.97 in 40 seconds. I'm just that good. I mean, seriously? Crazy. Shout out to him.
Yeah. I was going to say take that, but you can't say that today.
No, you can't. You can never say that on this show.
You can't say that at all.
Yeah, you can't say that on this show because you know why? Because this is our platform. That's why we can't. It's like,
well,
and I think that's trademarked, by the way.
I was thinking more of the artist formerly known as Diddy, but you can't say any of those things because he's permanently canceled right now. So,
well, yeah,
bad boy.
Clearly a bad.
He came out to play too much, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
50 is right. 50 is right.
Yes. So there you go. So, all right, it's time for our show mascot. How's he been doing, by the way?
He has been great. I'm going to have to give him his space because if I need to return this jersey, I will not want to have a several days of hair on here. So I'm going to slide down to give him the opportunity to, join the camera and hopefully not touch me. We'll talk about that. Rocky.
Okay.
Right here. Nope. Stick. Nope. Sit. There you go. All right. No. Wakanda. Nope. Wakanda forever, Rocky. Sit. Good job.
I hope he tears that tag off. So that way, that's going to be your jersey forever. And then the Bears trade down and trade out of one, and you're stuck with Okay.
And I would kill Ryan Poles too.
Caleb Williams
I would
jersey.
murder him.
It's gonna be. I hope he.
All right.
I hope he
That's
trades
it.
just for your
That's
sake.
it.
I hope he trades down and he goes to Washington. I hope that's the case. And you got a USC jersey for no reason.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Nope. That's it. That's it.
For our mascot Rocky and for cousin Wiley, this is Jay Hood. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast. Like, share, and subscribe to this video and to our podcast as well as we talk Chicago sports and more right here on Under the Hood. So long, everybody. Oh my God. I hope he rips that tag off.
He wouldn't do that.
Oh no, I own this shit. Ah.